This Week in Connecticut with Dennis House starts now.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Dennis House. Today, a special edition of This Week in Connecticut, a conversation with one of our state's most prominent couples. We sit down with the father and mother of the UConn men's basketball team, Dan and Andrea Hurley, former college sweethearts, talking about their amazing journey together. They were married in 1997 and had two sons, Danny and Andrew, who were raised in New Jersey, Rhode Island, and here in Connecticut. The family came here just over 5 years ago. Then Coach Hurley built up the UConn program, including time during the COVID pandemic, with his wife as his closest and most trusted advisor by his side. And then this year, the Hurleys were in Houston as the Huskies went to the Final Four and won the whole thing, the national championship. Now, I caught up with the Hurleys at the UConn practice facility in Stores for a wide-ranging and intimate conversation. People across Connecticut have been fascinated by this first couple of college basketball, and I found them to be warm, funny, and really down to earth. So it's been a couple of months since the national championship. You're sort of like big celebrities across our state right now. Every time I see you, Coach, you're smiling at Stafford last week, and you're always telling some great stories about just UConn and Connecticut. What is it like? How has it changed your life, this championship? I'll begin with you, Coach.
Obviously, the feeling of going places and people calling you champ or congratulating you on a championship is it's a feeling you could get used to. I hope every offseason, you know, I'm referred to as a champ and a championship level coach. You know, just the reaction of people in the state, it's cool. You go to dinner, you go different places, you just know how much joy you brought to so many people in the state during the winter, especially when it's cold and dreary and snowy, and you know, people don't have a whole lot going on here besides work. You know, they need their joy from their Huskies, and we gave them the ultimate joy.
It's amazing, the state pride.
Yeah.
I mean, people are really excited to be from Connecticut now.
And so are we, because it's like when after we won, it's like, and then you see people, you even the parade, like, you know how many people are in Connecticut, but when that parade was marching down and all those people, it was surreal. And it's like, those are your people, like they're so proud. And I'm saying to myself, like, I just feel like one big happy family that we did this, and it like made so many people so happy and proud of the team. And I love these kids. So for everybody to just love what they did is like, I love them. I love them all. I love the state. I love everyone.
You're like the mother of UConn, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna try. A den mother, yeah. I'm a den mother. Yeah, I try. I do, like, you know, I'm not around too much. I don't want to be too much, and I can't watch practice. That's too much for me. I don't love hearing I'm not a sports person. I never was a sports person before this, so yeah, I don't like to hear it. But
she doesn't understand like motivational tactics, psychological tactics with motivation with your players.
I don't like that.
And how some days you need to be really, really tough on them.
There's other ways. I feel that you could go about that, but maybe I should just mind my business.
So maybe it's best that she's not at practice.
Yeah, there's only been one, and I blame my sons for it. Danny and Andrew were at a practice back at Rhode Island where I was particularly tough on her favorite player. And they came home and told on me. To her, to the boss, the head coach of the home team, and she didn't talk to me for 2 or 3 days, and that to me, I would rather argue than like the passive aggressive stuff that she delivered for like 3 days. It was brutal.
Andrew, have you ever addressed the team as a whole group, given them a pep talk or anything? Is that allowed?
I did. Remember, I did once on the driveway last year. Is my only one, because it annoys me when during a game when they shoot the ball and everybody, like, pretend it doesn't go in, is what I said to them. Like, let's assume 100% of the time the ball from the other team or when we shoot doesn't go in, just grab it. Like, pretend it, just go for it. And they all, and I remember Andre Jackson is like, okay. Like, they look like they, you know, they did what I said. Look where we are today. That was last summer.
Do you remember the first time that Coach ever told you he was going to win a Final Four someday?
Yeah.
Way back when?
Yeah, yeah.
When was that?
Oh, God. A long time. I think like Rhode Island. And I'm like, here? He's like, that was just his goal, and he worked so hard, and it's just so hard to see something like a championship come out of the work that was put in. Oh my God, because if he never won a championship, and the way that they work is so impressive. I mean, the team, the coaches, it's like they do not ever take their foot off the pedal.
Yeah.
So to see that, like, that they put, like, it, then every year it's not like, oh, you know, like, it's nonstop. So I have social media, I see other coaches' wives, they're here and there, and their husbands. I'm like, why do they get to do that and you're here? Like, do we ever get to do anything like that?
I'm in practice and they're in Cabo.
Yeah, it's like, but isn't it alive here? Shouldn't they be recruiting? Like, he's out on the road and everybody else is, you know.
Well, not everybody, but
a lot of people.
When I was coaching high school, I think we would watch One Shining Moment in the NCAA tournament during those years, being a high school coach, and I would always say to her, we're going to be playing in that tournament, and we're going to win that tournament. And it was just about kind of getting to a place where you could attract enough talent around you to be able to do it.
Do you already feel the pressure about repeating?
Oh, hell no. Do you?
I feel enormous internal, just because the accomplishment, incredible. Like when you do have like little pockets of time driving home, song comes on that you remember hearing in Houston when you were out there, and it brings you back to that mountain climb to the top. It's an incredible feeling, but I'm more 85% of the time just obsessed and grinding on winning it again, and because you want to experience that again. It's like a drug that you gotta have, like to do that with a group of people, man. Like how that thing just built from Albany and to Vegas to Houston, and just how the crowds got bigger and the attention got bigger and the sense of accomplishment, the way you felt about what you were doing. I mean, that you just got to do it again. So I've been over it. I mean, the feeling comes and goes, but I want to do it again.
And when we come back on This Week in Connecticut, how the Hurleys met and the different versions of their early courtship. Do you remember how you met your significant other? Memories can fade, and sometimes couples have differing recollections about how they got together. The Hurleys are no exception. This championship is the latest chapter in the remarkable story of Andrea and Dan Hurley, right? Let's go back, way back to when it began, and you had an interesting quote that I was listening to, and that is that when you finally get to heaven someday, you're gonna ask God, how did I end up with this guy?
Yeah.
My best friend of all time, he's amazing, but how did this happen? So how did it happen?
I don't know, but it's like, I'm just so grateful. Like, I don't know, because I'm not, like I said, my dad had, we went to the Mets games and Giants games when I was younger, and I hated every second of it. I'm not a sports person. I don't understand it. And to this day, I still, on purpose, don't understand it. I don't. And I just don't know how I got matched up with someone who's so, and I think that's actually better for you, that I don't know too much about it. And, you know, I'm ignorant for a reason. I don't want to know. I can't sit at these games and, you know plays and everything else. I would lose my marbles.
So as the story goes, you met in college at Seton Hall, and you met at a restaurant or bar or something like that, and then you had a date.
Bar.
But you didn't recognize Andrea on the first date, is that right?
Yeah, it is. It's true.
Because of the hair?
The hair was either, again, I struggle, I'm 50 now. This happened, this was like 28 years ago, something like that. Okay, 30. She either had curly hair.
Straight hair.
Okay,
the day I met you.
She was young, and I was a senior, she was a freshman. So I met her, you know, she was still young, I was fully mature, man.
What?
And so she was experimenting with color contact lenses.
That's what I did back then.
And her hair straight curly. So I met her. Her hair was straight, and she had like purple contact lenses in. So, you know, we danced. We got to know each other. I asked for a date a day or two later, and when I went to pick her up at the Quad, she had curly hair and green eyes. and I told her like to get away from my car and to stop messing with me and go and get her friend.
Was it love at first sight?
There was something about Andrea, which I think I was immediately wanted to be around her more. But then, like, you know, the weird stuff is like, both her parents are from Jersey City, where I grew up in New Jersey. So she had something about her, like a beauty, but also a toughness and edginess to her, being from Jersey City, where, you know, she could handle somebody like me who is a very intense person. So I felt that way, and I think I grew on her.
Was it love at first sight for you?
There was, when I saw, I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't a fan. My dad, when I went to Seton Hall, got me season tickets, and that's, let me just rewind this. When you were playing, I was in middle school. My dad would take me every year, my whole family, to the CBA St. Anthony game, because we lived in Freehold, which was close to CBA. And I'm like, I can't believe, and I never paid attention. I used to do those string bracelets. I used to attach them during the game because I had no interest in watching the game. So, but I'm like, I can't believe that I watched him play how many years, like not by choice, but like I was in the same room, watched him play, and then fast forward, didn't want to go to Seton Hall, and my dad said, Danny Hurley goes there, I'm gonna get you season tickets. And I'm like,
who's that?
Who? I don't want to go. I'm not going for that.
Who's that guy?
I'm like, I'm never going to a game. And then I did go to like 2 games, but I would always pin my tickets up on the board. And my dad's like, go to the games. And
but a couple of her friends, they pursued me on her behalf. Emily Griffiths, a couple of her friends were like, hey, my friend Andrea really wants to meet you.
They were so full of crap.
She was trying to get a blind date before.
My friend Emily was a swimmer, and she dated a basketball player. And she's like, I'm tired of hanging out with the basketball players. Can't you just, is there anybody that you, I'm like, no, there's not. So then we were at the bar, and that's when she did this whole thing. And I was like, but then when, like, on TV, I never really.
Her pursuit of me went on. Her pursuit of me, Dennis, went on for a while.
But then,
you know, like I was the big man on campus, you know.
Whatever, that was, no, you weren't.
Actually, it didn't go like that.
It didn't go anything like that.
I wasn't playing very well. I was a mess off the court.
And I wouldn't know if you were or not.
After the commercial break, how Andrea helped Dan during a very difficult time and how they got to where they are today. For better, for worse, those words from the standard marriage vows are one of the pillars to a long union. The Hurleys have been married now for nearly 26 years, excuse me, and told me, like many couples, they had their rough times.
But meeting Andrea, like it's funny how like your story gets told, and the influence of my dad and my mom and my brother and my sister in Jersey City, it's had a big impact on my life. But it really wasn't until meeting Andrea where, you know, when I met her, I didn't have much direction. I didn't know where I wanted to go with my life. I didn't have very good personal habits with my life. And then you meet somebody that you want to live at your best level for them, and it changes your life. Eventually, it changed my life.
So she made you you?
Yeah, I was a rough version, like a really rough version of this, which is scary. But I was real rough around the edges, and I think meeting Andrea, it changed me.
What's the secret? What's your advice to other married couples out there watching, or young couples? Because you're going on 26 years, right, this summer. Any pointers?
I have some. Yeah, stay with it. You know, stay with it. I mean, it's stressful, especially when you have young kids and you're first starting out in your career. You know, and the finances are tough, and the kids are young, and you've just gotten into, you know, this relationship where you're together constantly, and you've got a lot of adversity and growing pains, and you're not fully formed yet as as the best version of yourself, and just to kind of stay together, because I think every year of our marriage we've gotten closer, and we've become better friends, and our relationship's gotten stronger.
Yeah, she said you're the best, two of the best friends, and it gets better all the time, right?
We are, and it's like it's never 50-50. If it's 50-50, there's something wrong. There's somebody can't always hold up there, and people give up so easily nowadays. It's like, and you have to, sometimes there are days that I couldn't stay. The garage door would go up, and I'd be like, ugh. But then, like, you have to bring fun. Like, if you have to be, sometimes you have to give a little bit extra, and it can't be stale. Like, you have to always do things, and that's it. I think we were really good at too. Sometimes when we couldn't stand each other, we kind of just said, like, okay, we have to start, and we broke out of it. And you're gonna go through that. Like, everybody goes. We go through that. I just told him this morning, he was like, before you even put your feet on the floor, you're so friggin' annoying. Like, he was doing something. But I'm like, we're like best friends here. I mean, it was
a tough way to start Monday. It was a tough way to start the week.
Well,
being scolded in the kitchen.
But he was like,
and it must be hard to be married to a coach, because you've relocated 3 or 4 times, completely picked up and moved out of state.
yeah, but you know what? We've been so fortunate. I thank God every single day that we were able to move close enough that we can jump in a car. Like, I don't know how good I would be, because I'd like to tell all the coaches' wives, I love saying this, like, it's more of a give than a take, and you have to, it's not easy.
How do you both stay grounded, in terms of having fun and things like that, and just at the end of a very busy day or a stressful day, how do you unwind to have fun, or on a weekend?
For me, I'm just a happy-go-lucky person. I really am. I always have been, right? I'm always just like...
She'll be happy, like gardening, fixing something around the house. I'll come home and she's just like a really dirty, like a complete mess by the time I get home. Fixing stuff around the house, like I couldn't hang a picture. And I grew up in the city, so I can't help you with anything green or anything with dirt.
I try to fix everything myself before I call somebody in. I've just always been like that. If I could do it myself.
A weekend trip, though, if there's little pockets where we could, go somewhere for a weekend, go to the Jersey Shore for a weekend, go somewhere we like for like a quick, because once we get to like 3 or 4 days away, my clock alarm starts going off, and I can't enjoy it. So like. And then we've got our places that we like to go for dinner around here, and
yeah, someone said I should ask you about, so Sayulita in Glastonbury named a drink after one of you or something. Is that right? That's just what I heard. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. They did?
Yeah, someone told me about that in the newsroom the other day.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
So
the dairy bar has the ice cream.
They do.
The dairy bar did an ice cream.
I don't know. I only get the classic margarita, so I don't even
I'll
know.
find out about that. But that's what someone said. When they heard I was doing the interview, they said, "Oh, ask about Sayulita has what?" I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
We love all the Maxes.
Maxes are great.
Maxes are great.
Yeah.
Capitol
Ricos.
Grill.
Well, you start your day very positive, and I must say that I'm very inspired. I'm going to pull this out for a second. Your Instagram page, your Instagram feed is really inspiring, and some of the things that you post on a daily basis, some of these messages, the last one, let's see what the last one was here. God is just preparing you, be patient. Nobody is coming to save you. Save yourself. I love that one. Never regret a day in your life. Good days give happiness, bad days give experience, worst days give lessons, and best days give memories. Do you see yourself as an inspirational figure?
I think it's definitely part of your responsibility. I'm not just out here with a whistle around my neck, just like running like a just practice. It's a leadership position. It's a leadership, with everyone associated with the program, and then I play an important role, in the States. So with whether it's social media, a suggestion on maybe a book or a quote or a message from my meditation practice, something I just wrote in my journal that I want to share. I think it's important. I think, spreading positive messages about spiritual, your spiritual mindset, your mental or emotional health, you know, and the power of reading books or journaling and how that could help create a mentality and a mindset for you if you're someone that struggles, you know, with depression or anxiety, which I have in a lot of my life, mostly when I was younger, but even in my adult life throughout my coaching career, when things have gone bad, I found myself in some real moments of great despair, and that's where you have to lean into a lot of your practices and your faith, and then your family and the people that you love.
Do you meditate together?
She doesn't mock it. I think she sees the value in it for me, because I think she knows if I didn't have those early morning routine that starts at 6 a.m. and takes me to around 7:30, the exercise, the prayer, the meditation, the journaling, you know, the reading, the backyard gardening. Do you say it's gardening? It's more watering. I water my plants in the morning. I reset my circadian rhythm as quickly as I can when I first get up. So I would be just an uncontrollable monster if I didn't have these things. These things at least gives me a chance when I start the day to have some balance, to have some momentum.
A final word from the Hurleys when we come back. And we want to know what you think about this interview, and of course every edition of This Week in Connecticut. Send us an email at thisweek@WTNH.com. Also connect with me on social media. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. This Week in Connecticut will be right back. Now, the final part of our interview with Dan and Andrea Hurley and their message for you. Andrea, how do you encourage Coach when he has a bad day, when you're coming off a bad day? What do you say to him that makes him feel better or makes him get out there and work even harder?
I mean, sometimes I say things that probably, I'm nurturing by nature. My mom, my grandma, I just come from very nurturing, and they always made, like, nothing was a big deal. Like, it's not that big of a deal. So I've gotten myself in trouble by saying, it's just a game. Like, you can either win or lose. Why are we so surprised if we lose? Is there one or two things you could do? So if we lose, I mean, we can't be shocked. And he wants, like, I've learned to adjust.
Adjust, you know, they have. Connecticut is the Hurleys' home now, and they are loving every minute of it. And a new 6-year contract extension means they'll be here for a long time, and they are both very grateful.
I just thank you. I mean, the people of Connecticut, the way you've embraced us when we got here, and then, you know, during the tough times where it didn't look like we would maybe get to that 5th banner for us on this side of the building. You know, just thank you for staying with us and kind of, you know, supporting us through January this past year in particular, when it wasn't looking great and you all could have completely melted down, but enough of you stayed with us that we were able to kind of turn it around, and just want to do it for you guys again.
Andrea and Dan Hurley, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this. This was a fun interview, and really just thanks for all you do for our state.
Dennis, thanks.
Thank you.
And we thank you for sharing your time with us on This Week in Connecticut. You can catch us every Sunday right here, 10 o'clock on WTNH. Up next, Capitol Report and Tom Dudchik. Have a great day, everybody.